Howdy, hey everybody. Welcome back to the Night Jam channel. I'm Griffin. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about drift tires. So this is my E36 behind me. It is an S50 swap. It's probably making around 210 horsepower to the wheels. And I wanted to talk about how to get the max life out of your tires and kind of what a stock E36 can spin grip level wise. So first I want to talk about what I've been using. So last year was my first season drifting, and so far I've been using some Ironmans. So if you're in the drift scene at all, this is like the go-to party tire. So this is a Ironman Gen 2 iMove whatever. I've been running a 225 45 17, and so far it's been doing me pretty well. I've heard great things about this tire, so I wanted to check it out. I was honestly expecting a little better out of this tire. I've been running it at about 50 to 55 psi so far. This one actually turned out pretty well. This was after a day of drifting. It looks like it still has plenty of, well, not plenty, but maybe 5 laps left on it. And the other side was chunking pretty bad. And at this event, I was doing a cool down after, I think it was after 2 laps, we would go back, I would hose off the tires, and still I got some pretty bad chunking on one of them. So I was a little disappointed, so I was thinking about what are some new tires that I can try that I've heard last longer. So first up, the obvious. So first up, the obvious is the Kenda. So this is the KR20A Vezda. It's the 300 treadwear Kenda. So I don't know a whole lot about Kendas, except that I think they changed what factory or something that it was made in a couple years ago. And I've heard that there's a chance that these don't last as long as the Kendas that like OGs remember them being. So this is a 225, kind of same spec as the Ironman. I reached out to a couple guys who've run these, and they recommend getting a 215 and running it at like 60 or 70 psi. I'm trying the 225 just to kind of see. The idea is that the more width, the longer the tire will last, and to compensate, you can just run more psi. So I'm hoping to try these at like maybe 65 or 70 psi and seeing how long they last. I'm really nervous because, again, this is a 300 treadwear tire, going from, I think the Ironman is like a 4 or like a 450 treadwear tire. Treadwear is just kind of like the grippiness. I honestly think of like skateboard wheels or longboard wheels. Like the lower the durometer, the grippier the tire is. So same with this. So 300 treadwear is going to be grippier than like a 400 treadwear, which is going to be grippier than a 500. A lot of like comp tires are going to be 200 treadwear and lower. So that's why I'm pretty nervous running a 300 treadwear, but if the car can spin it, I think that I'll get a lot of laps out of this tire. So I'm excited to try these, but again, very nervous for the grip. So the other tire I'm looking to try is this bad boy. So here we have a Velino Ebisu Matsuri tire. Papa Squad.
The Ebisu Matsuris.
Yeah, so...
Sound cool.
Yeah, so obviously Velino is a big name in drifting. And I've heard great things about like their 200 treadwear tires and lower. But obviously I can't run those on a stock E36.
I mean, just having that logo on there is cool enough. Doesn't matter how much they've blown axle, dude. I guess that's the other thing to find out. What's going to explode an axle or not.
Yeah.
And they got the wave painting on there already, dude.
Yeah. So yeah. So I will admit, like, some of wanting to try these tires is because of like some of the cool factor, but I also think that this tire covers a middle ground market where there's kind of a gap in. So this tire is a 360 treadwear tire. So it's kind of the perfect happy medium between a Kenda and the Ironman. But
What's the size on this thing?
yeah, so the size on this, they don't sell it in a 225, 45, 17 like the other two brands. You have to run a 235. So this is a bigger tire than I've ever ran on the car. And I will also probably have to pull my fender even more. But I'm hoping that this will be a really good middle ground where I won't have to run it at like crazy high PSI. And that it'll be less grip than the Kenda, more grip than the Ironman, but hopefully last longer. So there's kind of a history with the Velino tire. You've probably heard of the Griva, the Velino Grivas. That's their kind of like, that used to be their party tire. I guess there was mixed reviews about the Griva. Some say it would like de-lam pretty soon. Others would say it would last for a while. But I guess them coming out under a different name at the Ebisu Matsuris, they allegedly have fixed some of the manufacturing problems and some of like the delamming problems. So yeah, I'm excited to try these. I was doing a lot of research to try to figure out if anyone has run these on a stock E36 or even run these in general. And I've only seen a handful of people running them.
They're pretty new though, right?
I think they've been out for like maybe a year or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this is kind of the happy medium, hopefully get loads of life out of this tire, and be at the perfect grip level where I'm not too hard on the drivetrain, but can also keep up with some quicker cars. Yep, so we have an event coming up at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It is a very fast third gear track, so that's also something that I'm not used to. So far, our home track, you can get into third on the straight. You kind of enter in third, downshift to second, whereas the track we're going to is going to be all third gear. So we're obviously going to go through more tires there, but I think that I should still be able to get a good idea of how these all stack up with each other. The only other set of tires I'm bringing to this event is another pair of Ironmans, just because I know they work. However, I did get them in a 235 size. So also the theory behind that is I can bump up the PSI and hopefully get more life out of a wider tire.
We're gonna have to raise your car up probably instead of banging on the fenders.
I think we're just gonna have to bang the fenders out. Yep. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video kind of going over some things with drift tires, especially with like stock power cars like this. Yeah, because I don't see a whole lot of stuff for stock E36s, kind of drift tire review-wise. And so you see a lot of stuff like G35s, 350Zs running 265 Kendas like all day long, and that just seems a little much for this car. So that's why I'm kind of testing out some of these middle ground tires to see what will work best, what will give me the most laps per tire, and also give me decent grip. I mean, I'm not too worried about grip because it is a stock car, but it would be nice to be able to keep up with some other cars. Yeah, any questions about drift tires, you can leave in the comments. Again, this is my I'm going into my second season of drifting, so I don't know a whole lot, but I've been doing a lot of research because drifting is expensive, and anything that we can do to like keep the cost down, that's what we're gonna do. So that's why we're doing some of this testing to see if maybe down the road we know like, okay, I know I need 3 sets of Velinos for the event and know that they're gonna last. Okay, so I wanted to include the after event to kind of test the tires that I was talking about. So I want to give you some information. This was like a very high-speed track. This was third gear, the whole track in the car, and you can also see by some of this tire wear, the level of grip on the surface was like literally wicking the tread of the tire off of the tire. Yeah, so it was a super high-speed track, and there was a super long right-hand turn. So this left tire got a beating. So the order that I went, I started with the Volino Evisus, the 235s. They did pretty well. I aired them up to about 65 PSI. You can see we got pretty even wear. The one on that driver's side got all the way to the cords. Overall, I was hoping that these tires would last longer, but I was pleased that they didn't do any chunking or anything like that. That was something that I saw in the reviews of these tires, because these coming after the Grivas, people were concerned that they were going to chunk like the Grivas, but they really didn't. They just didn't last as long as I thought they would, being a 235. And I'm pleased with them, but I don't think that they're worth the money. So then from there, I switched to the 225 Kendas. Now these did really well. I think I drove the majority of the day on these tires. They were a 225, so they were smaller, but I think that they lasted even longer than the Volinos. I think I ran these at around 60 PSI. I was originally concerned that they were gonna have too much grip, but they really didn't, and it was the track was pretty hard on the car. I mean, it was like clutch kicking third gear coming up a hill. But you know, the car still had enough power. They weren't too grippy. I was still able to get to the track pretty well. Right, so yeah, I think the Kenda is the best bang for your buck. The 225 fit the chassis really good. They lasted a super long time. No delambing or chunking or anything like that. And also, like, you can get this tire for like $100 a piece when they're on sale, whereas these are like 160 a piece. So this is really the tire to get, especially for like a stock Power E36. Overall, I think I'm going to stick with the Kendas. I ordered another pair for the next event coming up, and I think that they'll last plenty, especially like at a normal like second gear track. I think that they'll last like all day, maybe even 2 days. Yeah, so I hope this was helpful information in picking a tire for your drift car, just because there's so many different tires out there, and it's hard to know like the limitations of your chassis, like what you can fit, plus like the grip level of your chassis, like what kind of tread wear tire can you run. But I wouldn't shy away from like a 300 tread wear tire like this Kenda, because again, you can just air it up, and especially with this one, like it'll last even at higher PSI. I think it's worth it to pick a grippier tire, air it up, even if you have a lower horsepower car. I think that you'll get the most money out of it. So yeah, thanks for watching this. Subscribe if you vibe, like the video. Let me know what other kind of tires that you guys run, and we can give them a try. And let me know if you've had the same luck with the Kendas or if you guys pick a different tire. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace.